Hey, good afternoon, Willamette Wolverines. This is Mr. Carvalho, part two of atoms in the periodic table. Today, we are going to look at two things. One, reading the periodic table, an introduction, and two, how to take that information and put it onto this document right here. So you should have this available, and you should have a new version of the periodic table, hopefully available by this time, with a little bit more visible numbers on it. I know the one in your notebook is not that great. So I've taken the liberty to make some new ones for you. All right. If you are a periodic table geek, get in here, do a printable periodic table search on Google, and you will find this cool website called Science Notes and Projects. It has got every kind of periodic table imaginable, ones with pictures, ones with diagrams, ones with colors, various colors for representing different properties of the elements. It is a fabulous website. All right, that being said, let's get right into our lesson for today. Okay, in the Google Classroom, you should find this periodic table box and a copy of the periodic table for yourselves. You're also going to need at least three colors. I'm going to use four colors today, but you're welcome to use what you can. You should have colored pencils available to you on the side tables over there. So let's stop and go get some of those while I switch cameras. All right. See you in just a few seconds. All right, I'm hoping you can still see my camera now, and you can see a periodic table, and you can also hear my voice. So I'm going to use some colors on this to show some various things on our periodic table. You should have a color version of this, and I'm going to show you just some introductory things, and we're going to come back to this later. All right. One thing I'm going to use is red for right now. Actually, I'm going to start with black, just to show you a couple features of the table. So you should write these things down on your table. The numbers that are up above each other on the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those are called rows, and they are also called periods. They are the rows of the periodic table. So that means everybody in the first row, which includes hydrogen, and all the way over to helium, two elements in the first row. The second row includes elements 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Row 3, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 18, all the way to 36 for row 4, and so on and so forth. All right, we're going to focus on the first three rows of the periodic table in the first portion of our introduction to it. All right, so those are the rows. The next number that you'll see is this little number up at the top. Those are called family labels, and they're also called groups. Group 1, Group 2, Group 3, and that means everybody from top to bottom. Draw little arrows in there if you would. Top to bottom are families or groups. Rows or periods go left to right. These are going to be important as we get in here a little bit later. Okay. I want to also show you now how to read one of the boxes of the periodic table. And so what we find when we're looking in the boxes is the top number has at least three identifiers. I'm going to do a little arrow out here to give you what those mean. That number right on the top refers to the number of protons. And you should have learned in Build an Atom, these are also positives. So I'll draw them as a plus sign. Sometimes I'll put a P and a plus together. All right. These are also called the atomic number. And basically, the hashtag means pound or number, by the way. This is also what identifies the element and puts it right here in this spot. No other element lives where lithium does. We know lithium's name because of its number of protons. And we know that that is its atomic number and its location. Think about this as its social security number. No two people have the same one. Neither do any two elements. All right. We're going to jump over to the green, and that's this little tiny, tiny number in the upper right-hand corner. I apologize for that blurriness. But if you'll notice that there are different numbers of those individual numbers in a box. So if I zoom in on this one, for example, and we look at sodium, sodium has a number 1 over there. It matches the red. Lithium has a 2 and a 1, and if you add them together, it matches 3 of the atomic number. 2 and 2 for beryllium matches 4. Look at magnesium. 2, 8, and 2. 2 plus 8 are 10, plus 2 are 12. All right, that number, if we haven't gotten there yet, is the number of electrons. And this is a minus charge. It should be the same as the protons because they balance each other out. It's such a sweet relationship. Positives and negatives. Magnets. All right, there's one more number in the box, and it's down here at the bottom. This one always trips up students because they have to round this number. Why do I have to round it? We'll talk about that later. But this number you should round to the nearest whole number. For example, with hydrogen, if I round it, it's 1.0. If I round lithium, it's 6.9 up to 7, right? Okay, so now that number, let's take lithium, for example. That number is the atomic mass, and it equals the number of positives plus the number of neutrons. So if I want to find out how many neutrons lithium has, I have to subtract the red number. 3 minus 7 makes 4. We'll do that in a practice in just a moment. Okay, let's go check it out right now. And we're going to use this little template here to do the element sodium. And we're going to take just a few little notations on this, and then we'll close up this video. All right, so I have blown up element number 11 in row 3, family 1. So let's write that down. Right on the top, let's write row 3, family 1. We can abbreviate family. That's okay. Row 3, family 1. All right, right at the top of the box, we got our number 11. 11 tells us the atomic number. I'm going to use my pound sign. Atomic number. Tells us the number of protons. Oops, sorry about that. A little gooey there, huh? And, oops, sorry. This is a positive charge. And it also tells us the ID. It tells us what the name is of that thing. All right, let's skip down to the bottom where we have the atomic mass. And the atomic mass equals the positive charges plus the number of neutrons. Now I have to round this number to the nearest whole number. The reason why is because sometimes sodium has an evil twin. There are two types of sodium out there, sodium 22 and sodium 23. But there are more 23s than 22s, so it rounds closest to 23. So if you would round that to 23, then we would say 23 is equal to 11 positives plus, now think about this for a second. If I have 23 positives and I subtract 11 from it, I get 12. So I have 12 neutral charges. All right, that's how we do these. Now up at the top, I'm going to grab my green and we're going to do electrons, you see. Electrons. Now, in this gray blob, or yours is a yellow, I think, that is the nucleus of the element that has the positives and the neutrals in it. So really, what this one has is 11 and 12. 12 neutral and 11 positives. Right in the center. Okay? Now, in order to talk about electrons, we have to know this about electrons. So I want you to write this down. We call this the electron arrangement. Electron arrangement. Uh-oh, running out of green ink. The electron arrangement. Now, when we start distributing electrons into their locations, as you saw in Build an Atom, sometimes you tried to put one of those ball bearings in a circle and it flew back out. Remember that? Well, if you didn't do it, then you wouldn't remember. But here's how we can distribute them. We can put 2 in the first circle, then we can put 8, then we can put 8, then we can put 18. This is how we're going to distribute electrons. All right, so when we look at sodium in the box that we have, you'll see these stacks of numbers on your periodic table. This tells you how many electrons are in each circle. It does it for you. Hey, look at this. Row 3, 3 different numbers. Guess what row 1 has? Just 1. Row 4 has 4 stacks over 4 numbers in the stack. Pretty cool. How about that for a pattern? All right, let's start drawing in our electron clouds. This is what you learned in the Build an Atom. All right, so we got these like circle things that we call them, electron energy circles or fields or clouds. And what these tell you is that you can have in this first circle, you can only put 2. That's all that will fit there because of the electric charges. So I'm going to write 2e minus to show I have 2 electrons. They can be anywhere in this cloud, by the way. That's our model for the atom. We don't know where they are. They're somewhere in there. And they're, by the way, not this big. They are tiny. They're like 1,800 times smaller. Let's write that in there. Electrons. 1/1800 of a proton. They are so small, but they are so powerful. So small, yet so powerful. Electrons are 1/1800th of a proton. All right, so 2 can go on the first level, and then we see that there are 8 in the second level in this element. So I'm going to draw a little circle, keep that going out there. I want you to be drawing this stuff, by the way. This tells me that I can have 8 electrons, and I do in this element. I have 8 electrons. They're somewhere in this circle. They're not in the first circle, they're just in the second circle somewhere, all over the place. They're moving around. And then in the last circle, we have 1 electron. That's all that's left over. 2 plus 8 are 10. 11 minus 10 is 1. So you just have 1 electron somewhere in that outer shell. And I'm telling you, this is power. We're going to talk about this as a valence electron. And I call them the boom electron. You'll see that in the next video. All right, take good care.